Okay, so thank you so much for that introduction, Nicole. Yes, we're here today to hopefully give you some information about some tools that will be helpful for you to support your students in their career journey and to be successful in their careers. So Nicole already introduced us. My name is Jessica Andrews, and with me today I have my colleagues Lindsay Bortot and Carolyn Mahoney, and we all work for the Employment Support Center here at Algonquin College. And in our presentation today, we're going to first give you a really brief overview of the services that we offer at the Employment Support Center, in case you haven't heard more about us. Then we're going to dive into the virtual tools that we have to offer to support students on their career journey. And part of that is going to be an actual demonstration of each tool and different ways that you can apply the tool within your engagement with students. Housekeeping, Nicole already went over this as well, but please feel free to use the chat box to ask questions, to have comments, to share your experiences. We're hopefully going to share tools with you, but we'd also love to hear your feedback on what your needs are or how we can further collaborate with you to support your students.
So just to give you an idea about the services that we do offer through the Employment Support Center, our primary service, of course, is one-on-one appointments with students. So my main role and Jess's main role is to meet on a daily basis with both students and graduates to discuss resume and cover letter reviews, provide support with interview skills and mock interviews customized to specific jobs, job search coaching and strategies, of course, providing information on the labor market and trends in different industry areas, and LinkedIn profile advising and use. So not only do we talk to students about how to create their profile, but also the benefits of how to use it and make it work for them. In addition to this, we also have other things that we do. Carol Ann, my colleague who we already introduced, takes care of a lot of our upcoming events and recruitment sessions with employers, as well as Jess and I do a bunch of workshops for different populations around the college. And then, of course, today's topic, which we'll be talking most about, is our virtual tools and resources. So if you were interested in providing information to the students that you interact with or the graduates as a faculty or a support staff, you can refer your students and graduates to book an appointment with us if you've had conversations with them and they're indicating that they have certain needs around their employment or job search or career goals. And they can book appointments through our Welcome Center. So that's simply by phone or email, as you'll see listed on the slide there. So very accessible. And of course, traditionally, we are located on the third floor of the Student Commons building, but during this unusual time, we are meeting all of our students through Zoom, and we're offering all of our services virtually. We do have regular working hours, so you can always reach out to us if you have a question or if you're referring a student between the hours of 8:30 and 4:45, Monday to Friday.
All right, so Howard and Juliana, just for our own perspective, if you could in the chat just indicate your role. I know I've interacted a few times with Howard for sure, but for everyone's perspective, if you in the chat, just let us know what you do at the college, what faculty or what service, what department you're with. And then when we say hit send, we'll see what your responses are in the chat line. So let's go. Thank you, Howard. Juliana, are you going to let us know? Oh, awesome. Oh, perfect. Great stuff. All right, so I think that we will have some great information to share with you through the presentation today then. And then we have one more question to ask you before we start the presentation. Have you or do you ever have students ask you questions about their career or job search? Any advice or questions they may have? Again, if you can type your answer into the chat and then we'll pull it up.
Nicole says yes, that's good.
I see that. Awesome.
All the time. Perfect. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah. Perfect, Howard. I'm sure you get a lot of questions. And Juliana, that's okay. We're going to share some information with you today that if you do have queries to you about job search, hopefully we'll give you some information you can share with your students and your job seekers as well. So that's great. So I guess we'll just move forward now. So just the formal agenda, Howard and Juliana, we're going to touch base on Hire AC, which is our exclusive online job portal, where we post a lot of job postings every day, all day. Interview stream, where the students can actually videotape themselves and review them to look for certain things they could improve upon, or that they're doing well as well. The AC Career Platform has a wealth of modules with job search advice, resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn, just job searching in general, a 24/7. It's a great tool. And then Jess will follow up with a brand new tool, the career mapping tool, which it's a great thing that you may bring back to your faculty to share with your students. So we will just move forward. I will jump into Hire AC, again, the exclusive job board for Algonquin College students and grads. And we really feel the top 5 benefits are that, oh, sorry. I think that's our old one. That's okay. So the top 5 benefits, I had one for students and grads, but for faculty, Howard, you in particular, and I know that we have shared job postings with you, but when we get full-time, part-time, and summer job postings, and even on-campus job postings, we always share with the coordinators of the programs. And we have great coordinators to disseminate those to their faculty. Sometimes they post them onto Brightspace, onto the homeroom boards. Some have Facebook pages with alumni, which is fantastic, LinkedIn pages, which is great. I know that by using Brightspace, the students are aware of the job postings, but to really get the communication out to alumni, LinkedIn and Facebook is a great tool to use. So we're really focusing on that as well. So the coordinators play a huge role for that. And as noted, we get full-time, part-time, and summer job postings. And one thing I just wanted to let you know that we do vet all employers who create accounts in Hire AC. We look for really important things. The first thing I always look for is a website, and if it's legitimate and if it has great content or not. We also look for email addresses to make sure that they are associated with the company. We look for, if we have the CEO of a company with a Gmail account and no website, that's a big alert for us. So we really do a deep dive and investigate those companies, and we will not approve them if they don't meet our guidelines, for sure. The same thing goes for vetting job postings. If we get a job posting in that doesn't meet our guidelines, and this week I had a few which were door-to-door. We don't approve door-to-door, for example, because the job seeker isn't really gaining any soft skills through that or technical skills through that. And oftentimes we have liability issues that if something happens, we have to be very careful about that. And also, sadly, fraudulent activity is out there. And sometimes the job seekers are asked to purchase materials to go door to door to sell things, and they can be out of pocket pretty quickly. So we will not allow those kind of postings to be approved onto Hire AC. So just a few things to be aware of, that we do vet all accounts and all postings before we approve them, for sure. The other nice thing is it's a centralized spot for job seekers to go to look at all job postings. Algonquin College has students and graduates from all campuses that can go to Hire AC. So it's viewable by everybody. As long as they have their student number, they can check out all the job postings for sure. And so if an employer goes directly to a coordinator or faculty member and says, I have a job posting, I need to hire 5 people, send them my way. Not a problem. That's what I'm here for. I can instruct them on information sessions, on Hire AC postings, the processes. I'm happy to take that over for you and get them acquainted with Hire AC and the Employment Support Center for sure. Hire AC is 24/7. We know our students. We know they can job search at midnight. That's cool with them. That's fine. And we do update Hire AC every day, all day long. Normally with the labor market right now, I would say we probably post 50 new jobs every day or every week, pardon me. And we probably get about 10, 12 new employers from all different industries through the weeks. So there's always something new to look at on Hire AC for job postings and to see the employers who are targeting Algonquin College students and graduates as well. Sorry, the slide. Is there next slide there, Jess? No. Sorry, I guess I updated the slides and we didn't get those included, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do, Howard, I know you probably have seen some job postings, but for Juliana and Stella, what I'm going to do is just share my screen with just to show a full job description that these students can see. No, sorry, bear with me here. All right, can everyone see the new screen? No?
Not yet.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. So this is a screen from a student view, and it's from one of our former interns who I got permission from to show just a student view and what they can see for job postings. So when they get to the dashboard for Hire AC, they simply click on career and employment, and this can be done for faculty as well. If faculty are interested in having an account created to enable them to go and see a full job posting, we can set that up for you. Because as noted, I do share job postings with all coordinators. And so if you want an account set up, I can happily do that for you really quick, no problem. So when we go in here, if a student receives a job posting from their coordinator, they can go into career and employment, search job postings. They can simply go down here with a job ID, and I will show you quickly. So here's a job posting. We get a lot of employment opportunities from Invest Ottawa. And this is what the student will see. It's a full job posting. And what I want to bring your attention to is the position type, full-time contract. You will also see full-time permanent, part-time, summer, or CSEP on campus. And then you're going to scroll down and you'll see the full job description with duties, qualifications, expectations. And then the other big thing is to realize, the students, the deadline to apply. Very important to note that, because as soon as the job posting's deadline comes, the job disappears from Hire AC. So that's an important thing to note, because when your job seekers apply to a job and 2 weeks later they're invited in for an interview, we really encourage them to go back and look at the job description and incorporate that into their interview prep. But if they go to Hire AC and the job is now gone, they panic. So that's one thing. You really want to encourage them to save that job posting wherever their tool is best, but make sure they have access to that for their interview preparation. The other thing we really want to make sure is they apply the right way. So procedure, how to apply, most of the time is through the company website or through an email address. They must follow those instructions to have their resume reviewed. All right, really important things for sure. So that's just one example of a full-time job posting and what faculty can see and what these students can see. And I also want to just quickly show you our events calendar. So I'm just going to show you for November, if you go to events and workshops, obviously. These are the events coming up. We haven't included our employer recruitment events just yet because we're still confirming dates and Zoom links. But you can go to the calendar and you can just click on the event that's going to be happening. This is for our international students, and all of the important information will pop up, especially to register. The link will be there. Click on that, and that's how your students can register in for those important events for sure. All right, so we're always updating that events calendar. Very important to direct your students to. And that's it for me. And I apologize for the slides. I thought we were going to have. But any questions that you have for me at this point, Howard or Juliana? We're good. All right. So we're going to move on to, I will stop sharing. And I guess we're on to Jess.
Okay, so now we're moving on to interview stream, which, like Caroline mentioned earlier, is a video-based tool where you can actually record yourself doing interviews or practicing interview questions. So some of the really great benefits of this tool, it is a mock interview at your fingertips. So students can do an interview anytime of the day, just like all of our other tools. They're accessible 24/7 on our website. One of the really great things about this specific interview tool is that it offers over 7,000 questions. So there are like so many questions across different industries, different types of questions, so behavioral, technical, introductory, and students can choose through these, or faculty, if you're using it as an assignment, can choose through the questions to create your own customized interview. Another benefit is that it's available across multiple platforms. So whether students have a phone, tablet, laptop, they're able to access this tool and use it in the same way. It also includes a number of like resources that you can use, including an elevator pitch guide, guides on how to curate your language. So trying not to use the words and like a lot. And then the biggest benefit is really that you can self-assess. So assessing your body language, assessing your facial expressions, assessing the number of times you say filler words. So you have a better idea of what you actually look like in an interview and sort of can keep working at it to improve the way that you answer questions or deliver your responses. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we're actually going to see how easy it is to use. So this screen here is, there's going to be a bunch of tabs at the top here. The first one is an assignments tab. So I created a custom one for Kaleidoscope today. And so we're just going to edit it, but essentially these are kind of the steps that you'll need to create an assignment for your class. So you need the name, the description, date. A lot of this is just default filled out super quick. You pick an image for your interview, and then you click next. And then these are the amazing selection of questions that you can choose from. So we've got business finance, we've got education, environment, lots of general questions. So if you really wanted to assess a certain area or a certain skill set, you can click on each of these and it will list a number of questions for you to choose from. And then you would just click the little plus button and then it would come over here to create your own unique set of interview questions. So lots and lots of questions. So I created a mock interview going over like group or teamwork, successful communication skills, and how you've achieved a goal in the past. And then here you can talk about how much time the student has to answer the question, if they're allowed to retry. So can they like do a couple takes before they hand it in? And then how much time they have before the actual like videos plays in and they start recording themselves. On the next screen, we have just some extra features. So if you wanted to send a message to everybody that is going to be completing this assignment, if you want to invite the specific students who are going to do the assignment, you would put in their email address here. So all of them would then receive a link to the specific mock interview that they're supposed to do. And if you want to send them an assignment code, you could select that. If you want to receive an email every time somebody does an assignment or completes their interview, you can also set up that option as well. And that is all. That is all you have to do to create an assignment. It's pretty straightforward.
And Jess,
And
I'll
then-
just mention too, for anybody who's not a faculty as well, they can certainly just direct their students to the interview stream page, and the student can sign up and just use it at their leisure as well. So for Stella working in the Experience Workers Center, it could be helpful to just refer students there to use it as a form of practice as well.
Absolutely. And this here is the screen that students would see. So if they wanted to conduct their own interview, or if they did have an assignment, they would be able to click on the assignment that they've been connected to. So I wanted to give you an example of what this looks like. So I recorded my own interview. It's really terrible, just to show you like how you can self-assess. But you can see here that you can like self-assess the number of times you use filler words. You can also assess your own nonverbal communication, your own verbal communication. So like giving yourself a rating. And also you can add in comments at the bottom. And if a student went onto this tool and they wanted to self-assess, but then they also wanted somebody else's feedback, they could then send it to one of us, so Lindsay or I, and we could go over it with them and send feedback back, or we could set up a meeting to go over it together. So here's my, my answer to the question, tell me about yourself.
Want to share your sound, Jess?
All right. Let's start over.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I am a student in the business program at Algonquin College, and I really like working with people. I really like working with people, and I'm hoping to get a part-time job so that I can make some money. And I'd really like to work for your company.
Okay, so that was awful. And so I counted that I said twice. So that's something I could work on. I said like. I also wasn't really looking at the screen, so my eye contact was off. I was sort of looking all over the place. So if I were to self-assess myself, I might say, okay, eye contact, I need to improve on that. Posture, I probably could be more engaged, like lean in a little more. Better response that wasn't super tailored to business or anything really. So maybe like working on the things that I want to say. So it's a really great tool to sort of even see for yourself that maybe you need to improve on your skills, or for somebody to be able to like access or assess you at a later time. So that's Interview Stream. Does anybody have any questions about Interview Stream? How to use it? Very brave. Nicole has a question.
I think that's an incredible tool. And I think so many learners can absolutely benefit from such a phenomenal tool. So how do employees at the college, support staff, administrators, as well as faculty know about this tool? And I'm sure it's on your radar, but if someone doesn't do an assignment, how else, Jessica, might they learn about this incredible tool?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, we try to market our tools as best as we can, but we understand that there's a lot of people that aren't hearing about it. We try to promote it on our website, on our LinkedIn page, which I think you put in the chat box earlier. Every time we do a presentation or workshop, we're trying to highlight the tools. But I think it helps to actually see what it looks like. It's one thing to say, this is an interview like recording tool, but to actually see like all the like assessment tools and how easy it is to use, I think would be helpful. So we're trying to show it to you guys today. So hopefully some of you are interested.
No, that's incredible. And students are very familiar with recording themselves. And the self-assessment is lovely because I don't realize, and I don't think they realize, how often they come across in terms of how many fillers they are using, and that silence is golden. And silence in an interview is fine because perhaps they are thinking and chewing on their questions for the future in terms of what they're going to ask their potential employer, right? So I think that's a phenomenal tool, and we have to help you ensure that it is marketed. Absolutely. Sorry, more of a statement than a question, I guess, but thank you for showing that to us.
No problem. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the AC Career Platform. So this was an initiative we created a couple years ago, and it really is focusing on providing students with, some more interesting interactive material that they can access online about all kinds of topics around career readiness. So if we go to the next slide, we'll look at some of the benefits. So it's really, again, about having that 24/7 access. So we know that students, whether they have questions about resumes or cover letters, they might be working at those on all different times during their program, during the day even, right? And having access to information where they can just reference it to find, different things that will support them in moving those things forward for themselves in a very self-directed way is very helpful with the AC Career Platform. And I'm actually going to be showing you two tools today, but they're essentially the same they have the same purpose. So the AC Career Platform is just general information on things like resumes and cover letters, interview skills and job search. And then we also have a job search guide that's specific for students and graduates with disabilities. And it covers similar information as well, but it's specific to that population. And we'll talk about the importance of having information specialized to that population in a moment. So on this platform, another great benefit is that it is a bit more interactive than just reading, let's say, a textbook, right? There are some quizzes, there are some, videos they can watch of people demonstrating how to answer an interview question. We have example answers, or we have samples or templates of resumes and cover letters on there that are downloadable that students can use to guide them as they create their documents. And mentioned they get to quiz themselves, how much knowledge did they learn from those different modules and how can they apply that to their learning. So even if they're not using it at a self-directed, in a self-directed manner, faculty or support staff can work with their students to suggest they go on this platform and test their knowledge around those things or refer to it for different things. People can even build this into their curriculum or to assignments if you wanted them to learn about a certain subject matter on any of those career readiness topics. Overall, going through the interactive modules, students and graduates will gain job search skills that are going to prepare them for those part-time, full-time, summer, and career-related roles. So everything they're reading on there is going to have an impact and a benefit for preparing them for their future. And of course, you might get some questions, and you might think to yourself, I don't know if I have the most updated information on that particular topic, or, I don't know that I know how to advise a student on a resume based on what employers are looking for today. And so we really wanted to have a resource that, you as staff could access to reflect on the information that's current and up to date, and also a place where you could refer your students to answer questions. So the job seekers guide for students and graduates with disabilities, which is just an extension of our original AC Career Platform, really speaks to topics that are specific to that demographic. So I know in past experiences interacting with other staff and faculty, having questions from students who present with a disability, who might be wondering about employment related things, sometimes those questions can be pretty tricky and pretty complicated to answer. So we have a whole module reflecting, questions on disclosure and accommodations and things that would really impact the employment process for someone who has a disability. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that resource. Thank you, Jess. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay. So as you'll see, we've worked with the library, and it basically the library guides. That's where this is created within. And you'll see this is linked through our website as well. So when we give you our contact information at the end of the presentation, all of the resources we've talked about today are clearly linked on our website. So once you get there, it looks like this. You see that there's 4 different modules here. So we've got resume and cover letter, interview skills, job search, and digital portfolios, kind of like the basics. So if we click into resume and cover letters, you'll see that there's a bit of a description on the module. On the left-hand side, we have some really great tips just generally about how to build your resume and things to be aware of. Then you're going to see in the middle here, we've got different pieces. So here's an introduction, before you build your resume, what do you need to know? When you're building your resume, what are the steps to being able to do that effectively? And then as you click on each section, it will drop down with some resources and tips and suggestions. You can also cross over to building your cover letter, of course. And again, that's actually going to walk you through each section of the resume. And as you can see, we scroll down towards the bottom. You're going to have templates associated with both the cover letter and the resume that you can click on. It will populate, and then a student or yourself can use that as either to guide a student or for the student to guide themselves, which is really great. And then 2, just a checklist. Okay, once I've gone through and I've produced or created a document based on what I'm reading on this platform, let me go through and make sure I've got everything that this module was suggesting. So those checklists can help guide you. Also great because you can download the checklist as well to use later if that's something that you continue to work on. So I'm not going to go through all the modules, but just give you a sense of how you can explore them. I will kind of highlight a few things in the interview skills module as well. So that's broken down into different parts. So before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. Similar to the other module, you'll see on the side here some top tips and a test of your knowledge. So if you click into test your knowledge, it does a little quiz with you to give you a baseline on where you fit, with what your current interview skills might be, to give you an idea of what you need to focus on when you're preparing. You'll see in the corner too some tools. So here's all the documents that are linked with that. So we've got, during the interview, before and after checklist to guide you to make sure that you're doing all the right things you need to be doing, as well as a sample thank you letter for after your interview. A really helpful part of the modules that we've found in the past is, before the interview, getting a sense of what the types of questions you might be asked look like. So if you click into before the interview, you're going to see here sample questions and answers. So, when students are having these questions, like I get this question in an interview and I just don't know how to answer it, what do I do? If you actually click through these, you're going to get a video with a description or someone actually acting that out, as well as a scripted answer here that can help guide people in developing their own answers. So lots of really great stuff there, and you'll see tons of common questions. And then, of course, it gives you samples like, here are some introductory questions that are typically asked. Here's a list of behavioral questions and how to answer them. And even you'll notice that we have a list of questions that people can ask to employers. That's something that students often struggle with. Maybe you're even thinking like, I don't even know what I would ask an employer if I went to an interview. Here's some things you can look at in terms of things you should ask and things you should not ask. So really cool stuff there, tons of drop downs with different information, some interactive videos, and really useful templates and samples that students and grads can refer to, or you can refer to if you're building it into your curriculum. Okay. And I'm just going to show you the link that's specific to our job seekers with disabilities or our students and graduates with disabilities. Can you see the link? Yeah, okay, perfect. So I've just switched over, and you'll see in this, it's a similar format. And when we're scrolling through this, this is very much more specific to our students with disabilities. So what you want to do is you know, as somebody who might want to just educate themselves about this concept, there's lots of good knowledge in there. And then of course, if you're dealing with students who might be seeking employment, who have a disability, and you want to give them some more guidance, this would be an excellent place for you to refer them to. You'll see some categories here: disability in the workplace, learning about essential and non-essential duties. Particularly important, I would say, would be disclosing a disability, where we really go into detail about, you know, when is it appropriate to disclose? Should I even choose to disclose in the first place? And if I do disclose, how should I do that? And so each of these things has a drop down, you know, talking about the advantage and disadvantages, and then giving a really hands-on detailed script in terms of how you might want to disclose if that's something you do. So the level of assistance that this self-directed module could provide to a student with a disability, and of course to you, to educate you on how to support those students, can be really, really helpful. Again, in terms of disabilities, appropriate things that can happen and be asked as part of an interview process, and how to arrange accommodations if accommodations are something that you need. So some really cool stuff on there. Okay, does anyone have any questions on the AC Career Platform?
I think Howard has one, Lindsay.
Great.
No, it's what it is just I get a lot of questions from students basically asking, okay, they're just starting in the program and they're just asking, you know, what are the careers? Like what are people doing once they graduate? So I mean, I always trying to find the most current information, but I mean, I'm looking back at what my history is, not necessarily, you know, what's current now. So that's the only thing that I'm always struggling with.
Sure. As part of the job search piece in the modules, you'll find that there is some, you know, where can they find out more about the job prospects for their industries and what kind of jobs come out of that.
Yeah.
And as well, I think you might be interested in the career mapping tool that we've created that speaks a little bit to, you know, what do those occupations look like at the end of the day? Where do people find work?
Yeah.
And I think so as well, Howard, you might want to, you know, lead your students to the Career Center for sure and Higher AC, because they can even log into Higher AC and see companies if they're interested in, you know, Pronto Forms or a certain company that they are interested in. They can go onto Higher AC and see if they've posted jobs. And then in the job posting, they can see, you know, what skills that company's looking for, what technical skills, soft skills, that sort of thing. So it's a great way to just labor market interest to learn about that earlier on in their academics to get ready for their career.
Yeah, I always thought that Higher AC was mostly just for co-op. So I'm learning a lot right now.
No, and that's, you know what, and I'm glad that you said that, because that's one of our initiatives, is to really promote Higher AC. We have our own module, the Employment Support Center, which is called Career and Employment. Then there's co-op, and then there's career, and those the CCR, the
Co-curricular.
Co-curricular.
Thank you so much. But we're all our independent modules. We do interact tremendously with co-op, but if your students are looking for summer job, full-time job, part-time job, come and see us, because those are all posted on Higher AC as well. And the jobs that I send to you and to all coordinators in general, they will be specifically full-time, part-time, or summer. I don't send co-op jobs because those are independent to the co-op department. So that's a really good point you brought up, Howard. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd also we'd work with students too to review like how they can find other graduates on LinkedIn too, to see, you know, what their career journeys and paths have been doing, so they can see, you know, what have those graduates who have completed the computer sciences courses actually partake in, and what are they doing, and what are those companies that they can focus on. So lots of things that we can help them with for sure.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Ella has a question.
And the events calendar too, Howard, just last point, you know, it's not just internal. I wanted to make a point about that. The events and workshops calendar on Higher AC, we also post external events, and TechNata was posted. We promote external if it's a really viable event for our students and graduates to go to, so that they can always check that out to go and learn about who's hiring, what they're hiring for. It's another opportunity. Yeah.
Ella?
Yeah, I just have a question. I like the idea about, you mentioned, Lindsay, the graduates, their stories. So for any of our clients at the EWC, they're not going to be students already when they're really interested in some of this information that they'd really probably benefit from accessing. So is there any of this stuff that they couldn't access because they often want to know things for second career, like what are the jobs that graduates are doing or people can do from the different programs, and sometimes they even want to talk to some of those people. They also want to know who the employers are. Those sorts of things, like statistics around that stuff, is something they're really interested in, especially the people that are really keen and have a slew of questions. So is there anything basically that they can't access of these tools and resources that I wouldn't be able to direct them to? I figure that's the best way to ask the question.
That is a great way to ask the question. Also, where are you? I would like to join you on that beach.
Well, I'm actually relaxing at home in my basement, so
It's not quite
I'm
as
not
lovely.
sharing. But it was my last trip.
Yes, it looks great. For Higher AC, obviously that's only accessible by students and grads. Interview Stream is also only accessible to people with an Algonquin Live account. So if they have an Algonquin Live account or they're studying at Algonquin, obviously they would have access to all of the tools, but if they've chosen a different school, then they wouldn't. And then the AC Career Platform is a public link, so it's accessible through our website to anyone. There's no registration required, so they could use the modules and the information they see there to do their research or things like that. And then of course, yeah, for your students who are doing second career and looking at different colleges and might not be coming to Algonquin, but they're still looking at what those career paths might be, even if they're similar diploma programs that they're comparing the Algonquin program to, but they're going to a private college, I would still suggest that they look at the program learning outcomes pages at the college to find out, because each of those pages list potential job titles that a student would be going into if they graduated. So if there's a similar program, they could look at that to expand the job titles and things like that of what they were looking for. And same with, and then LinkedIn. So as I was mentioning, like following other graduates have completed similar programs to see where they're working and what they're doing, what their career progressions have been, to give them ideas in terms of what employers to focus on and to research.
Okay, so there's no actual information that just specifies employers. It's more of looking at the graduate information.
Yeah, like in that case, we would have a conversation with a student. We're obviously just seeing students of the college, but the advice I would give you to give those students would be to research employers on those fields using like business association websites, and depending on the industries that they're in, just doing a Google search to find out what those employers are, the market is in Ottawa. And then connecting with people from those companies to get more recommendations on other employers that might be in those fields.
Okay.
But yeah, there's no magical list of employers. I wish there was.
Okay. Okay, that's one thing I would, because the more advanced in details requiring for second career, sometimes they do want some of that.
Yeah.
But I know that's sometimes not always as easy to track down. It's fluid, but yeah, anyways, that's awesome, all of the stuff you've got, because some of this I can use it.
Great. Yeah. And we can always talk offline anytime if you're curious about other things we talk to students about or strategies that we advise them with.
Okay, those are great questions. Let's move on to the last tool and then we can answer any more questions at the end. So this tool is our most recent, or it's kind of a new tool that we've been developing. And it's a career map, which is a customizable journey map for either individuals or different programs or industry areas. And so some of the benefits of using this tool, so students can use this tool to highlight key activities, events, and resources that they can use throughout their journey here at the college to better prepare them for their career. So instead of like waiting till the very end of their program to start doing all their career readiness activities, we want to like intersperse like different things throughout their time at the college to really get the most out of their experience and really prepare them for as soon as they graduate. So it provides suggestions in three key areas. So gaining experience, building connections, and then just general career preparedness activities. Like I mentioned earlier, it can be customized. So if a student wants to make their own, so they could make it by individual, it could be created by program, industry, depending on the needs of who's using it. And it helps the learner to like stay on track within their program and plan for their future so that, again, they can make the most out of their experience. So we've created a sample career map for business accounting. And so this is kind of what it looks like. So tackle some of those questions that we had earlier around what can students do after they graduate. So we've hit, but like both throughout the program and then once you finish, like what are the next steps? So within the three areas of career development, within gain experience, we can see throughout different stages in the program, different things that they can do to help build their skill set, build up their resume, and gain more experience, both in their field or even in positions to help build their transferable skills. So maybe at the start of the program, they might want to attend the part-time job and volunteer fair, which this year isn't happening just because of the pandemic, but typically we would have that opportunity available in September. They might want to check out the work integrated learning opportunities for their program. So some programs have more than one opportunity. Maybe they want to take advantage of placements. Maybe they have a co-op term. Maybe they have research opportunities. So exploring those things. And then during the program, taking advantage of employer information sessions, maybe becoming a peer tutor, maybe becoming a student ambassador. So each stage, there are different ways that the student can help to build their experience throughout their program. So we've listed a lot of things that are available through us, through the Employment Support Center, as well as other programs that are available through the college. But again, depending on the program, if you have very specific events, so for instance, we've highlighted the accounting night that happens every year for the business accounting program. You can integrate those into the journey map so that students are aware of what's coming up and what they should really be getting involved in to help build this certain area of career readiness. So if we look at the next one, building connections, perhaps at the beginning of the program, you're really focused on building connections with your peers, maybe joining clubs, attending one of the networking sessions that are available, both for the college or for your program. So we have a Time to Business networking evening every year, which, side note, is coming up in a month. And then maybe in the middle of the program, they might want to, again, take advantage of recruitment sessions, make sure that they're connecting with people on LinkedIn. So building, again, those connections, building their network so that any opportunities that are coming up throughout the college experience could hopefully lead them into something right after they graduate. And then get career ready. So this one is more related to like those career skills. So making sure all your documents are ready. So whether it's your resume, your cover letter, practicing your interview skills, making sure that you're able to really communicate all of the things that you've learned in your program to a potential employer. So through each stage of your program, making sure that you're continually building on those skills. And then if we look here on the very end, we also include some tips. So after graduation, what are the sort of skills that you can highlight from your program? So if it's business accounting, maybe you're highlighting your experience with different accounting tasks, bookkeeping, tax returns. You might want to explore different positions. So knowing what kind of opportunities are out there when you graduate. So maybe you want to work within financial accounting, managerial accounting, taxation, and then actual roles. So what are the job titles that I'm going to be working in? So you might be called an accounts payable clerk. Maybe you will find a job as a payroll clerk, as a bookkeeper. So really, really customizing it to the program or to the individual's career path. I know there's lots of links on here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but essentially each link would then go to the actual web page or resource that the student could explore more. But in a nutshell, this is sort of what we had planned for the career map. So as a faculty, this could be helpful, or as a staff, if you're having a conversation with a student, this would be helpful to show them sort of all the different activities that they could take advantage of. For a student, again, it helps them to keep track and become more aware of the actual services that are available to them. Like we were talking earlier, it's really hard to like market things to students, to staff. Everybody is overloaded with emails, with information all the time. So having a sort of journey map is a great way to put all of that key information related to careers in one spot. So I'm going to go back to the slides. Are there any questions about career journey maps?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Might be a silly question, I don't know, but I could probably answer it myself, but I want to ask to make sure I understand. So when you put all the journey map together, all of this data that you get that says about the jobs you can have and just everything, where do you source all the information from? Is it anything external or is it Algonquin?
So for this purpose, it was just Algonquin specific.
Okay.
We would probably, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, there are a few sites that are external that we added in, but most of it is Algonquin, yeah.
Okay.
But you were meaning for like the employment titles on the right-hand side?
That's some of it. Like, like what jobs that they would get from like after graduation. I guess.
Just on mute there, Stella.
There, oops, I touched something. I guess sitting on the beach really isn't perfect, but yeah, like when it comes to like job outcome data, basically, I guess that's the way I can capture what I mean. Like the data, because normally what I would look into is stuff that's like job bank or like Government of Canada websites that give a lot of data. I know that we do have the like career coach and some like a lot of the other stuff that you guys have, but I'm just was wondering, that's all.
Yeah, so like when we're working with our students and grads, we also use Job Bank as a source of labor market information or job trends or information on skills associated with different jobs and employers, et cetera. So that's a very common jobs site that we use too. For this, because it would be like an Algonquin College tool that like faculty could use or staff could use to distribute to their students, we kept it just aligned with the program learning outcomes. because we don't want to, of course, make any promises based on what the program was intended to serve from the get-go. But certainly if a student was meeting with us and they had different skills, we would be evaluating all of those things too and talking to them just like you do, and making references or expanding that list of potential job titles based on what their previous experiences were and their skills and things like that. But that's a great point. And that actually reminded me from Howard and Stella, your question about, lists of employers and things like that. I'm not sure if you've used in the past, like the Ottawa Business Journal's book of lists. That's a helpful. Yeah,
I
that's
had actually a hard copy of that once, and I tried to get a new updated one, and I couldn't get anybody to get back to me to get an updated print. So I wasn't sure if they just put it all online or not.
Yeah, well, I think you still have to pay for it, for a copy of the book. I think they're like $35, but yes, they still have a recent one. And I found that quite helpful in reflecting on employers based on industries for students. Any other questions? I like that we're all on the same page about, wanting to provide some really tangible answers to students and grads about, like, here are the employers you can work for. I think that's good feedback, just to hear that that's a common interest, and maybe there is something we can work with in the future to kind of, come up with resources reflecting what employers fit in what category and how that might help our students moving forward.
Last chance for any more questions, folks, for our fantastic panel.
And just one last takeaway for everyone here is that your students, your graduates, alumni, you as faculty, as support staff, there is an employment support center on campus for anything job search related, jobs, job searching, LinkedIn, interviews, resumes. Everyone thinks, I believe some people think we're only here to review resumes for graduating students, but in fact, we're here if it's your first day on campus and you need a part-time job or a summer job, or just some insight into your career path. We're here to help in any of those capacities. So send your students, send your job seekers our way, and we are more than happy to help.
That's such fantastic support, Caroline. And truly, I know we're at time and I want to respect everyone's time, but on behalf of the Kaleidoscope Conference Committee, we would like to send our thanks and appreciation to Carol Ann, Jessica, and Lindsay for this plethora of knowledge, truly, and tools that we all glean from moving forward. I've been writing notes, so thank you so much in terms of the career map and how it's divided for the life cycle of a student, and the self-assessment in terms of your interview stream, and the beautiful aspect of students self-assessing for filters. That's huge. The fantastic website of Higher AC, as well as giving them the empowerment to record their own mock interviews. I think it's brilliant. Thank you very, very much. And on behalf of the committee, we are issuing emerging student aid bursaries on behalf of our thank you to you and our appreciation to you. We realize that our learners are in desperate need of not only food bank donations, but in need of helping them continue their success in their career here with us. So on behalf of that, round of applause, please, with your reaction buttons. Thank you so much, Caroline, Jessica, and Lindsay. We appreciate you taking time for us today to tell us about all these wonderful tools. So thank you.
And thank everyone for coming. Connect with us on LinkedIn.
Thanks, everyone. And also going forward, we will be sending you the evaluation. So please do give us your input so we can make those revisions for our Kaleidoscope conference, hopefully next year. Thank you, everyone. You could have been anywhere in your house today, but you were here with us. And for that, we are eternally grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.